First.
The Bronze Age.
Why the Bronze Age?
When they figured out how to put iron and copper together.
Which came first?
Bronze Age.
Why did Bronze Age come first?
Because it's worse than iron.
And it was like somewhere before our age was like information or electronic, right?
Close. No. So the question is, which came first? Raise your hand. Bronze Age. Why did the Bronze Age come first?
Because they started using bronze first.
How much iron is in bronze?
Nothing. 0.02.
There's like none. Bronze is really like what? What's
Copper
the
and tin.
copper and tin? Then there can be some aluminum. Now, with that said, bronze compared to iron, which one has a lower melting point?
Iron, bronze.
Yeah, bronze would have to have a lower melting point, right? That's why it came first. It's going to take a little bit more effort to melt iron. It's kind of like liquid rock. In order to melt a rock, you know, the lava right now in Hawaii, the lava rock is hotter than the iron. Is everybody clear? Now, we talked about the guy yesterday that got hit by the rock, the lava rock.
Dwayne, the rock?
Guy was out trying to defend his house, and a rock from the volcano comes and it hits him on his leg. What does it do? Breaks his leg in half, right? He's like, the only reason why he says he didn't die is because the heat incinerated the blood, but now his bone is exposed. He thought he was going to lose his leg, but supposedly he's not going to. I don't know how they can do that in most surgeries or something. But
Hey, that's what they did with my uncle.
What, that guy's Mustang that got melted by the lava?
it's true. The first thing you want to do when something hot hits you, you know, you want to touch it. So can you imagine this liquid rock like lands on your leg, and you know the first thing you're gonna want to do is just like, and then you're gonna burn your hand off, right?
It doesn't melt your hand.
You're talking about liquid. Yeah, if a molten rock lands on your leg, he said he grabbed his foot that was broken and was holding it in his hand
Or what if you didn't die?
by the shoe.
Sometimes it happens to that.
Just human nature. People do that all the time. It's kind of like they'll touch something they shouldn't, and then they, because it's shock. You think that your hand could cool it or your hand could get it off, but you're really just going to burn your hand off. I mean, you're talking about temperatures that the rock has melted, right? I think it did. They didn't show us pictures, but if you went on YouTube, you probably get some pictures. No. All right, so the question now is, Claire, what age are we living in now? Now, a lot of you guys, you're kind of like oblivious to what's going on around you. Claire, don't be oblivious, because then you're kind of like shocked. People who are oblivious kind of freak out because they weren't prepared. So you ought to know what age, Cody, what age are we living in?
We are living in the Neolithic. No.
Claire, what age are we living in?
I don't know.
The age is associated really with what we produce the most. So the Iron Age was associated with iron being produced the most. The Bronze Age, because people made tools, it was the most common thing. Yeah.
Steel.
No. Claire, what is the most common thing produced right now?
Copper.
Yes. Thank you, Colin. We're living in the age of plastic. Now, this is a huge problem. Claire, why is this a huge problem?
God, I don't know.
It's not biodegradable. And where does most of it end up? In the ocean. There are people... No, it ends up in the ocean. Now, why, Cody, why does it end up in the ocean?
Because people can't dispose of it properly.
Because rain causes it to get washed in there. In the ocean, there's a part in the ocean that's the lowest part. There's a name for it. I forget the name of it. Forgive me. Yeah, it's Marina Trench. And like all of it ends up there. There's like a lot of plastic there. And the problem is when it gets there, it starts to break down. Then you have these like little bitty plastic particles. And the little bitty plastic particles get consumed by the fish, and it creates a problem.
They do the cross-eyed.
So this is like the biggest problem right now in your future is plastic and what to do with it.
We gotta melt it down. Take a
Now, if you think,
shoot it at the sun.
let's just ignore it, when the ocean dies, it creates something called a smell, and that smell creates more death. So if you don't pay attention to death, it's going to be in your backyard, and when you smell it, then you get death in your body called diarrhea.
This is sign here. I think we should melt it all down and then shoot it at the sun.
Yeah, because last time I checked, when I smelled death, it doesn't make me feel good. Yeah, it stinks. Yeah, like if a deer dies and it's riding by you, it tends to spread disease. That's why we bury our trash. So you got to keep, you got to be very alert to preventing the spread of diseases. And if you like ignore the ocean and like the plastic and the fish start dying, right?
Yeah,
That's a problem.
that's why you see all the big like construction equipment.
Which is the correct electron dot strictly for the element fluorine and B?
B is correct. Number 2. All right, go ahead, Austin.
How many total atoms are in 3 Na2SO4? I'm just gonna guess instead of C.
The answer is A. If you look at sodium, there's 2 of them, plus the sulfur is 3, and 4 oxygen is 7. 7 times 3 is 21.
Yeah.
And number 3. All right, Austin.
What is the oxidation number of calcium? C.
Number 3 is D. Calcium seeks to lose 2 electrons. When it does that, the protons are positive 2. And number 4. All right, go ahead, Austin.
Calculate the H plus concentration of an aqueous solution. Given the concentration of OH is 1 times 10 to the negative fifth, and in the ion product constant for water, KW is 1 times 10 to the negative 14. C.
All right, so that one you're going to take 10 to the negative 14th minus 10 to the negative 5. What's negative 14 minus negative 5? Negative 9, right? So the answer is A. Emily, how does it feel to be a senior? Like today's your last day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? You have anything you're going to... Well, so they go to 5th period and you go to like the cafeteria and hang out.
Yeah, we have a senior meeting, so we're not going to. Well, we go to 6th period for like a second, and then we go to our senior meeting, and then we're leaving.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Going to Florida.
Yeah.
It's amazing. All right, so moving on to number 5.
Take me with you.
No. Who's got 5? 4 is A. Negative 9.
I can really use
Go ahead.
How many single covalent bonds can carbon form? C.
Carbon has 4 electrons, valence, so it's D.
Oh, okay.
And number 6, that is.
I can read that.
Go ahead.
How many moles of Cu are needed to react with 5.8 moles of AgNO3? C.
The answer is A. I can explain that to you at the end of the review if you need help with that. 5 is A. I will at the end if you need help with that. Number 7.
David, we got yelled at.
Because of your colleague,
Hey,
Thompson.
what do you do?
He was like, "Hey, it's work." They were giving me like we were literally just quietly walking through the hallway.
And he was like, it takes 2 people to get a binder.
I was like, "Why are you so worried about it?" Like
Okay.
he literally does anything.
Number 7.
Oh, fancy.
Oh, go ahead. What'd you say for 7?
C.
7 is A. Oxygen desires to gain 2 electrons. It has 6 around it.
You said number 7's A.
Number 7 is 2 negative, A.
You want me to read number 8?
Go ahead.
If a collision between molecules is very gentle, what molecules are C?
Number 8 is D. Likely to rebound.
So you answer the next one.
Number 9, go ahead.
Which is the percent composition of bromine in the compound NaBr? C.
9 is D. You take the mass from the periodic table of sodium, which is 23, plus bromine, which is like 79. Add it up, that's the denominator.
Lying to us, there's been 80
You want me to do number 10?
So there's more bromine there, so it's number 9 is D. Oh, go ahead, number 10, Harrison.
Which substance has the same empirical formula as the C?
Number 10 is D. Now remember, that's the simplest whole number ratio, so they should simplify to be the same. So if you look at 10, 2 and 3 would be a 1, 2, 1, and then 3 simplifies to 1, 2, 1. All right, go ahead.
How
Awesome.
many grams of O2 are required to produce 358.5 grams of CNO? C?
Number 11 is D. Now 11 was like number 6.
All these D?
No. Number 12.
I got it.
Go ahead, Austin.
Group 13 elements tend to acquire which charge when they form ions? C?
All right, they are going to be A because they're metals and they want to lose electrons. That would be boron's group, 13.
A?
Yeah.
Alright.
Metals want to lose electrons and non-metals want to gain them. All right, go ahead, Vance.
When a motion is taken into a straw at a pressure of 0.071 atm, the straw contains 5.0 ml of liquid. How much liquid is consumed at 0.092 atm? At point C.
This answer was on a previous quiz. It's B. So if you look at the previous quizzes I've given you, you'll see that one there. It's B. And number 14.
I can read it.
Go ahead.
Alright, which is the correct number for moles for NO that is produced from 13.2 moles of oxygen gas in the pressure or the presence of excess ammonia? C?
That is A. And we can come back to that one again,
Alright.
like number 11 if we need. And number 15. Let's go with Harrison.
What principle is illustrated in the figure C?
That was on a previous quiz too. That's Boyle's law. And that would be A. And number 16. Go ahead.
A photon is emitted from an atom with an energy of 4.25 times 10 to the negative 19 J. What is the wavelength of the photon? C?
That would be A. There's a formula for that, and I can show you that after we go through all these. Number 17. Let's go with Vance.
What is the oxidation number of chlorine in NaCl and C?
Chlorine wants to gain 1 electron. It's non-metal.
So it's A.
It can be on that B.
Oh, what? You said
When it gains an electron, it's negative.
Oh.
Because it has a negative there and a proton is positive. It's got the extra negative one, that's why it's negative. All right, go ahead, Harrison.
What type of orbital is shown in the C?
You skipped one.
Yeah, you skipped one.
It's an
You
8.
skipped 18.
Oh,
A,
What is
B and
the-
C are the same.
what is the oxidation number of carbon C?
Carbon has 4 electrons, so it's either going to be 4 positive or 4 negative.
So D.
Yeah. And number 19.
I can read that one.
Go ahead, Vance.
Which type of orbital is shown? It's B.
B is correct. And number 20.
I can read it.
Go ahead.
Which term is described as the percent by mass of any element in a compound? I'm going to have to go with C.
Now, if you look at number 20, the answer is actually in the question.
It is.
Percent composition, very good. Number D, letter D. And number 21.
21.
Okay, awesome.
Based on the periodic table, show elements from columns B to E will combine in which ratio? I think I have to go with A.
21 is, now if you look, they're saying B is 2 positive, and they're saying E is going to be 3 negative. So if you have a 2 to 3, it's going to be a 3 to 2 ratio. So which one is 3 to 2?
D.
And 21 is C. All right, so 22. Go ahead, Vance.
A moving torch requires 3,200 liters of ethylene gas at 30 atm. What would be the pressure of the gas if ethylene is supplied at 250 liter tank? C. C.
22 is C. This is a Boyle's Law question, which was on a previous quiz, so you should be familiar with that one. And 23. All right, Austin.
Which is the number of moles of carbon dioxide produced from the complete combustion of 5.42 moles of ethanol? C.
C is correct. And 24. Harrison?
Which type of bond has one pair of electrons shared between an atom and C?
24 is A.
Which is the correct electron diagram for the element silicon? It's A.
25 is A. 26,
I can do that one.
Austin?
What is the oxidation number of fluoride? C.
Well, fluoride wants to gain 1 electron.
So it's B.
B. And 27. Vance?
Going to this chemical reaction, which is the number of grams of Fe produced from 14 moles of 102 C.
A. And 28.
Which is the correct one?
Number 6 right here. How many moles of Cu are needed to react with 5 moles of AgNO3? Here's your balanced equation. They give you 5.8 moles of AgNO3. You want to know how much of this is going to react. So you put in the denominator this from the balanced equation, and then you put in the numerator 1 mole of Cu. These are the requirements. These are the requirements for the reaction. You've been given this. How much of this do you need? You need 2.9 moles. Because this is a 1 to 2 ratio. So 2.9 and 5.8, that's a 2 to 1 ratio. Does everybody see how that works?
Wait, so I can figure out what the ratio is.
Well, that's what we use the balanced equation for. But this balanced equation is showing us a 1 to 2 ratio here. Does everybody see that's a 1 to 2? There's a 1 there, but you can't see it. I'll just put it there for you, but it is a 1.
So you get the 2 from
Your ratios come from the balanced equation. See that?
yeah.
1 to 2. And that's all you're doing right here. I mean, if you take 5.8 divided by 2, you get 2.9. So you can find what you need by the balanced equation telling you the ratios. That's why it works. You'll do this too if you go into a restaurant and you're making like food. You need to know what the recipe is that tells you the ratios that you'll need. When you multiply it out times 100 or 150 or 200 if you have that many guests. It works. This is very applicable in the real world.
What can it be? D. D.
12 is A.
A. I knew it. It's A.
Number 13? Josh?
B.
When a milkshake is taken in through a straw at pressure of 0.071 at the moment, the straw contains 5.0 ml of liquid. How much liquid is consumed at 0.092 at the moment?
I'm getting that
13 is B.
All right, 13 you should have seen before on a previous quiz. Excellent, Josh.
Ratio of K3PO4 to KNO3 in the chemical reaction. C.
28 is C. 29.
Which is the correct statement of bond strain? C.
C. And 30. Vance?
Which exception to the OSIT rule is shown by this molecule? C.
It's actually a covalent bond there. So it's going to be D.